Welcome back. I'm Coach Tina, and today I'm sharing my top 3 glute exercises. To start, glute exercises are not just about the aesthetics. What makes them really important as we get older is that your glutes, strong glutes, support your lower back, your hip joints, and your knees. And that's the reason I focus on them. So the first exercise is called a hip thrust. It can be done with a barbell, but I'm going to show you with a dumbbell because that's probably what most of us have at home. And this is how you get into the position of the hip thrust to do the exercise. You're going to have a bench or a chair. I like to have the weight on my hips first so I can slide into the position. So as you can see the dumbbells here, I'm going to gently adjust myself and I'm sliding down until my scapula, those are the bones, you know, your shoulder blades, that's your scapula. So those bones are resting on the edge, the top edge of the bench or the chair. And you'll feel if it's below because it just creates a nice little shelf on top of the edge. And from here, the dumbbells are sitting, the dumbbell or dumbbells, heavier dumbbell of course because your butt can do a lot more than you think you can. It sits on my hip bones. And then my feet will be about a squat distance apart, so not too narrow and not super wide. So in your squat stance, and how far they go from your butt, you're going to kind of test out. So when I come up here, I want it to be so that it's a 90-degree angle. I think you can see better than I, since you're looking at the video. It should be a 90-degree angle at the top. And I think this is about right for me. And then I come down, you start down here. It's like a glute bridge, except for your back is elevated. My eyes face forward, as if I'm looking at the low horizon. And when I lift my hips with the weight, my eyes stay at the low horizon, and then I bring it back down. So the hip thrust is lifting with my glutes. This added weight creates more challenge, and my eyes looking that way protects my lower back. Here's an example. If I let my eyes go too far, I'm going to hyperextend my back, and sometimes that creates a little pain. So the best way is to just keep your eyes forward as you lift your hips with your glutes with the weight on it. The easiest way to get out of this position is to gently lower yourself to the ground so that you can remove the weight. So that's the hip thrust, and it's a version of the glute bridge, but much more challenging because you can add weight and you have more distance to lift the weight with your glutes. The weight that I had there was 25 pounds. Test out, see what it feels, but you'd be surprised how much more weight you can actually lift up with your glutes. So remember, your scapula is on the edge, the weight is sitting on your hip bones, your knees create a 90-degree angle. You could ask someone in your home to check out to make sure you got that 90-degree angle, and your eyes face forward at the low horizon. So exercise number 2 that I absolutely love for strong hips, let me move this out of the way, involves no weight. It's a lateral band walk. You will take a medium weighted band, place it mid-calf. This is probably on the lighter side. And you're going to take a wide stance, drop the knees and the hips. So I'm in this athletic stance as if I was going to hurdle with a football team, but I don't play football. But this is called an athletic stance. So it's a quarter squat. See, I'm not all the way down there, but I'm not too tall. It's kind of in between. And from this position, I'm going to take a step out. The other foot meets, but instead of meeting too close, I want to always have tension. So the steps will look like this. Mid-calf, athletic stance, and the most important thing is imagine you have a cup of hot tea or coffee on your head. So as you step out, you want to stay the same level so that cup of tea or coffee does not spill. I'm doing my best to stay in the athletic stance. When you get enough reps, you will feel it here in your glute medius, which is side butt. And this is what you're working, your lateral movements. Because we don't do it in everyday life, those movements going left and right are extremely important because your joint needs to have strength in all directions. So what I would recommend in terms of rep scheme for these lateral banded walks is about 20 to 25, all in the same direction. And you will feel a burn on one side. And then you'll switch over to the other direction. If you don't have a lot of space, I often in my apartment will go in a tiny little circle, but I'm staying in one direction. So that's exercise 2. In terms of strong glutes, it's a lateral band walk. And the last exercise, it's a little bit more on the intermediate side, but I know you can do it. It is a single leg deadlift. So from the side, I'm going to show you, I'm going to use it with a dumbbell, since you probably have that at home. A deadlift, you're going to karate up, is this position where my hips bend evenly. A single leg deadlift, my hips still do this, except for one leg goes in the air. I'm going to show you with no weight. I prefer to hold on to something because I lose balance, and you won't lose the efficacy of this exercise if you have to hold on to something. So here's an example. See, hips still chop, so I'm coming down and coming back up. So this back leg, you can also imagine that bottom of your foot trying to reach the ceiling. So as I come down, it's okay if the back leg is bent. You can do it straight, or you can have the back leg bent. The most important thing is that standing leg has a slight, like a 5-degree bend, very small bend. It allows your hips to move a little further. So let me show you what it looks like with weight. If I had a dumbbell, I'll start with the dumbbell up here. When the dumbbell comes down, it's coming down next to the standing foot. So I don't want it too far out in front. I want to have it right by my standing foot. And here I'll show you with holding on to a little something for balance. It's coming right down next to the foot, or it's by the foot, in front of the foot, basically midfoot. But I want to show you something. When I do this exercise, let me see if I can catch the balance and come back up. Ain't perfect, that's why I hold on to something. When I do this exercise, the place where I feel it, where you're working, is literally right here. If you had a back pocket, pair of pants, that's where you're gonna feel the most work. Here and some here in your hamstrings. So glutes and hamstrings. You should not feel it in your lower back. You wanna keep a wide collarbone let me go back into this position. So as you can see, I have my collarbones are spread as I come down and come back up. And in terms of ideal rep schemes, I would go 8 to 10 reps. The heavier the weight, the more you'll feel it in your glutes and hamstrings. So if you can incorporate this, you don't have to do it all in one day. Just, every week, at least one of these exercises, you will have strong glutes, which is the foundation for strong back, strong hips, and strong knees. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time.